today we might get through it. We might only get through half. We'll see what happens. But we got a pretty big stack of comics to review that I've read over the last week. Hopefully, I can remember what they're about. I got my glasses close by. First one, was a freebie that came in one of my claim sale boxes. I was really happy to get because I love the Centipede cartoony characters and stuff. I like that. It's a nice wraparound image on it. It's the mini ashcan comic. But yeah, he gets this kid and these characters that are dealing with a mushroom problem. Their mushrooms are getting turned into toadstools from this evil wizard, and they got to deal with the situation. And there's all kinds of things and frolicking and hilarity and all that stuff that happens in here, and it's just really fun how these. Looking back at these from the 1980s, I are pretty much when these things were out, I believe. And the Atari games came out in the 70s. This is 1983. Volume 1, number 1. But yeah, by DC Comics. But I really enjoyed this little thing. I was glad they threw it in as a freebie. That was awesome. Can't ever complain about that. And then we got Army of Darkness Forever, issue 12. I guess it's the end. I It does leave you with a whole new perspective of a new storyline in the end of it. But yeah, we get to see what happens in the big battle is by Tony Fleeks, Brad Simpson, Popman, Troy Peteri. We got Ash and his girlfriend. He's finally like accepted that, yeah, I don't care about going home anymore. I want to deal with the evil, and he's just sat there and traveled all over the place, back and forth to past times he was into future times, and he realized everything's pretty much the same, no matter what time frame you go into, what part of the world you go into. You're dealing with the same crap with the Necronomicon, no matter what. Everything is just the same old drab everyday life stuff, and he'd rather just spend the rest of his life with her and just sit down, kick back, and relax and enjoy things. But we get to see his little baby buddy, his little green. Is he on the cover at least? Yeah, his little Necronomicon character, the main Necronomicon, ended up turning into a little baby character, and he's calling it his little buddy and stuff. And then all of a sudden, something happens, and the little guy grows in a large proportion, grows very big, and becomes a new style character that Ash has to deal with, of course. The wizard's gone bad and is fighting against Ash, trying to get the Necronomicons from him, so they can put them all together or whatever. Uh, there's 6 Necronomicons around because the wizard and them brought some from a different time period. Ash has the ones he's got from different time periods. There's it's a fiasco of Necronomicons that end up showing up. But next up, we got Epitaphs from the Abyss. This is A Hand in It by Jay Stevens. My eyes are getting so bad. They're just cheater glasses. Leomax Inaki Espiazzo is working on this one, A Hand in It. And we get our little characters, storyline, characters that you get to see in the beginning of a creep show style, all the different haunted horror mixed up story things. But we got a mortician gal that's doing some shifty stuff in the back. It's like she's putting a toe tag on this guy that says sold. So I'm like, is she selling bodies on the side? Because she's got all these bodies that she's kept in the freezer. Some of them are pretty old and they're well preserved, so they got to be kept in a freezer atmosphere, I would assume. And she's got the little smoke coming out of her mouth when she's doing things. But yeah, she enjoys her job and being around her bodies and talking to them and stuff. Yeah, when she goes home to deal with the husband, he isn't into that stuff. Doesn't like to hear her talk about it. Doesn't care for her anymore, and he's turning on her, and she's trying to find a way out of her relationship. And that's how that story becomes what it is. We get Blood Type. This one's by Karina Betchko and Jonathan Case. We got a gal that's she's a vampire. She's dealing with her vampirism and having some issues and gets caught by some people and has to hide what she is and what she's doing. So she runs off, eventually jumps on a boat and has to deal with her vampirism, her thirst, her hunger, and the boat ends up having some issues in a storm, and then she does some things to help some of the people on the boat, and you can imagine what she has to do to survive her hunger plus survive being out on a boat with possible sunlight issues. We get A Crossroads Repetition by Chris Condon and Charlie Adlard. This story focuses on the college professor and dealing with the devil, the whole concept of how circles just constantly flow and come back, and the meaning behind circles and hell and all the lore and everything. And we find out that this character is making his own deal with the devil and how everything comes back full circle and stuff. Uh, all enjoyable, decent stories, pretty much not too extravagant that I couldn't guess pretty much what was happening at the beginning of them. So that kind of takes away from it because you're getting a lot of stories that are the same old stories from the past, and they're just not changing them up that much, just updating to present times. This is again an example of a cover that has nothing to do with the stories in it. I mean, there are the bodies in the freezers and all that, but they're on slabs and all that. The cover with the bodies dangling and the girl playing with her doll. I was hoping this story would have been in there. That would have probably been better than the three that were in there. If you would have focused on a family that's doing something with body parts, you got a fridge full of flesh that they're dealing with. But yeah, it was. It's better. It's getting there. I mean, the stories are more enjoyable, and they're gradually picked up. The first issue was a little rough, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. I don't know if I'm going to stay on it long term, but we'll see what happens. We got Hello Darkness, our awesome Jenny Friesen cover. I believe this is issue 3. Yep. We got Mukbang, which is done by Michael W. Conrad, Martin Morazzo, Chris O'Halloran, and Lucas Gattoni. We kind of have a gross out competition where they're recording it and getting likes, getting hits on social media by eating really gross stuff, and it ends up becoming to the part or start eating body parts and stuff. And it's very dumb how these two people are, how they played themselves out. But I mean, it's pretty messed up story. It was definitely interesting. I'd love to show that full page image right there. Illustration that they have has nothing really to do with the stories, but yeah. And then they always, I love how they do this in here. Instead of having like a joke section or stuff, they have a little single comics, single panel comic stories, which is interesting. We get Sticked. This is part 2 of our ongoing story through here. This is by James Tinian IV, Werther Della Dira, Miguel Muerto, and World Design, and more. In this story, we're getting to see a history of this. I mean, I think this is based on basically looking over a whole city, village, whatever, town, whatever you want to call it, and all the problems that are happening in this town. And our character that sits at the bar knows way more than she's letting on. And yeah, there's people that are getting hurt along the way and stuff, and weird things happening. And the bartender's talking to her, and she's kind of like giving us little things to enlighten more of what's happening without the story. Uh, and then our next one is Campengeist. Gotta wait for a second. I got someone going through, but trying not to get them on video, but they don't understand when I'm doing video to not walk through. But we got Campgeist by Andy Lanning, Rain Burrito, Trevor Hairsine, Ed Dukeshire, and Bryce Carlson. This one takes us back to World War. Well, this would have probably been World War I period, and we get to see the different sides, what's going on. They're trying to get into something, and when they do, they end up coming across a lot of characters that happen to be hidden in the walls, and an attack happens that ends up. I can't show these things because it gives away too much stuff, but it ends up taking to them a place that they probably never even thought they were going to go to. Uh, it just basically they're finding. It's like you're falling into a lost, not a lost world, but a lost village, a lost worshiping area. Demons could dwell and arise, and it's got some pretty interesting twist into it, and that story could definitely flow into some more stories down the road if it wanted to. I got The War Part 3 by Garth Ennis, Becky Cloonan, Tamara Bonvillain, Pat Brazeau, and Bryce Carlson. In this story, we're seeing a couple of our characters from the group decide to try and fly somewhere else. And while they're on the plane has to make a emergency landing for some reason. And they find out why. And while they're waiting and wanting to go to their destination, but feeling they're not going to get to their destination, and they're still worried about all the end of the world thing going, the nuclear war being started. And while they do finally give up on waiting for something to happen, they're like, let's just go back to our house. And a bunch of other stuff happens. Yeah, it's basically what you've been waiting for from the story and in the beginning, but yeah, it's still got a ways to go, apparently, 'cause it is continuing itself off this issue. So we'll see what happens with it, but it is a story that you pretty much can predict overall what's happening with it, and it's just I think they drew that story way out longer than it should have, and they should have focused more on like the war story, taking that one deeper or something, because that one has so much extra options to play with on that one that I'd love to see where that one would go. Next up, we got Man Goat and the Bunnyman. Beware the Pigman, issue 3, or final one. Got myself a new bunny mask. It didn't have a string on the back, apparently. I wasn't paying attention to that. So I'm going to have to get a new stretchy string for it. But in this one, things heat up as Man Goat and the Bunnyman go to hell. And this time, there may be no hope in saving their eternal souls. Well, unless they can beat down some demons, stop Baphomet's plan, crawl out from the fiery depths, and save the world in the process. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here, because the odds are against our heroes, and what is in store for Phil and Floyd, no one, not even their new friend Batty, can see coming. It's done by Joe Brusha, Jordi Perez, Walter Perea, Taylor Esposito, David Wool, and more. Yeah, we get to see them dealing with the battle in hell. And while that's going on, our bunny man is told by our goat man to, our man goat, to get the heck out of there, go deal with other things. And while he's doing that, he goes running off, and a bunch of pellets come plopping out his butt. He's basically shitting himself as he's running. And then we got our man goat and then the pigman trying to make a deal, he's trying to get the pigman to wake up and realize that you're just because you had problems with a few bad humans, they're not all bad. They could possibly be your friend and stuff if you find the right humans. And while this is all happening, our human hunters happen to show up in hell also and go to battle, and they're trying to kill both the man goat and the pig man because they're the keys to opening hell on earth. So they figure that they take them out first, then they don't have to worry about the rest. But let's see what happens. Check it out for yourself. We have a nice long battle sequence in here, and all kinds of things happen, character twists and turns and all that, and lots of bunny poop. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a nice short 3-issue run, but this last issue packed a lot into one single issue, so it was a great ending to that storyline, and each issue I felt held its own very well. This one's going to be a little rough trying to remember because this is the first one I read a while back. Marvel 85th Anniversary Special with a wonderful Scotty Young wraparound cover. And in this story, well, stories, I should say, you get a variety of stories. You get like Miles, Kamala sitting there hanging out. You got the different stories that are showing our characters, and we go back to the 85th century. Oh, ahead to the 85th century. Find this slug-like characters that are controlling this depot or wherever they're at, and out in space. And and you gotta realize we're dealing with multiverse, we're dealing with cosplayers, we're dealing with fake characters, all that stuff. So they bounce around a lot. But we have Wolverine and Deadpool had happened to go incognito and join up with a tourist group, come into this area and find what they're looking for. And they find out like there's things like Miss Marvel's mask and a scarf in a jar. There's different things in a jar, and each thing kind of takes them back into a story. And they do. They're all wonderful stories. You get to see a good array of characters throughout this. Galactus, just Miss Marvel saving a planet from Galactus, but yet she's Galactus's. Uh, I can't think of what it's called. Basically, a Silver Surfer at this present time, and she's trying to find a planet for him to eat because he's starving, and she finds one that just so happens to have life on it, and she's trying to save the life. Well, he's getting ready to eat it all and devour it. But our Deadpool and Wolverine characters keep popping up in between each of the stories, and they got their own little nefarious plans going on. They're gonna do something with lots of big twists and turns. We get a X-Men storyline in here. The bright Nightcrawler and them, a variety of our characters. Uh, Lots of cosplayers throughout these, and yeah, it was really fun how they played this through, how it all connects to these slug people, what's going on. We get the Hulk, we even get Dupe in here and stuff, which I love. Been seeing a lot of Dupe recently, which is awesome. I like this one that's like a fallback, kind of manga-ish Avengers style story, but I love that way they did the artwork on that one. I really love this advertisement. I want one of these, 100-piece Deadpool set. Just a bunch of little live miniature Deadpools that'd be running around your house terrorizing everything. Definitely don't want to have a cat or a dog or anything like that around. But yeah, yeah, there's battles to the death with our superheroes and all that. Things they do with cloning and Spidey doing all kinds of interesting stuff. But yeah, this was a great one. So if you like the Marvel characters, you're gonna love this book. Nice, thick 85th anniversary special. Lots of story in there, lots of fun. Definitely worth picking up. All right, Nightclub 2, A Deal with the Devil. Issue 2, or Nightclub Volume 2, Issue 2. I'm kind of bummed that I stayed on this. I should have stopped after the original volume. I don't like it all the way this volume's going. It's done by Mark Miller, Juanan Ramirez, Fabiano Mascolo, and Clem Robbins. We got our big guy. That's one of our three vampire characters, the last one to get turned uh, of the group. Well, it should be four vampire characters, but for some reason only three are being represented. He's got this uh, gang boss that's trying to make him offers to get him in the gang to be his main henchman because he's seen his abilities, kind of curious where they came from, what they're doing. Uh, but these characters are just showing off. I can't show these pictures. Naked. Uh, they're showing off their powers too much, and by showing off their powers, they're getting noticed by more people. And then in this one, there's twists and turns to find out what kind of powers they have, what's going on. And at the same time, you got one of the characters in love with the other character's girlfriend, and they're happy together. They don't want to separate or anything, so there's nothing going on with that. With a side thing, but he's obsessed with her. She doesn't want nothing to do with him, so he takes it out by telling his current girlfriend what his abilities are, what he's doing, what's going on, and it's just gonna basically lead to more and more gang wars and all this stuff. And I don't care for the gang war shit. You can have that. So this whole storyline, I'm really bummed that I have 4 or 5 issues ordered. Finish it off. It's like it was $1.99. I think that's what the price was for the first volume, and now they're $3.99. I think basically doubled in price, and we got a way shittier story. I'd rather pay $1.99 for these stories and would have paid $3.99 for the first ones, but yeah, they completely ruined it. Don't like where it went. I'm sure it'll pick up and all that stuff, but I don't care about the gang crap. I'm just not into that. And it's like even what was it? Marvel did the big gang war event and all that. Just not feeling it. Now we got Spawn Kills Every Spawn #3 from John Layman, Rob Sketchcraft Duenas, Robert Nugent, and more. But our characters still obsessed with trying to kill every spawn. Trying to at least a little smarter now, trying to work on some of the lesser spawns instead of going right to the top. But realizing that he has to deal with the Scorched because Spawn's got the whole Scorched team from the last big Spawn event. And so our character's like, well, I got to put together a team to fight the team. And then the first team he puts together, he's like, we're going to go after the lesser spawns first. And they're like, well, aren't you the most lesser spawn? And they attack him and stuff, and a bunch of stuff happens. But yeah, then he goes back to home, back to his mom and stuff, and explains just what he's doing, just all obsessed. Still with taking out the rest of the spawns, and it's so fun how they're doing this. I started following Sketchcraft now since this, and I've been doing some sketching while I watch his sketches and stuff. And I love that style artwork, that trencher feel, uh, that squared out character look and stuff. But I really enjoy this mini spawn. I'm looking forward to more, but we're also getting other mini characters from that world that uh, are also going to be a lot of fun. I can see down the road. I really hope they go deeper with this. I hope they don't just stop after 5 issues and never come back with another run or anything like that, or some one shots and stuff like that. I really want to see this character survive for more stories down the road. We got Universal Monsters Frankenstein issue 2 by Michael Walsh and Tony Marie Griffin. This is the brain. Right. Like I said, I was told at one point that each issue was going to be based off another body part. This one's based off the brain. We get a little history of how they end up with the abnormal brain for Frankenstein and stuff, where it comes from, what the little hunchback character, uh, his little sidekick, is up to. He's kind of got some issues with Frankie and stuff, and uses his abusiveness to abuse Frankie, and this Frankie just isn't happy with him either. He's kind of like he's a, finds out about the kid who is hiding around the mansion, the castle, to find out more about his dad's arm from the first issue, and our little hunchback character kind of like chases the kid off and causes a bunch of problems with Frankenstein throughout this issue. But we do find out some fun, interesting little quirks about the whole brain and all that, where they found it, why they got it, why they're using it, what happens once they do use it, what the brain's capable and stuff of and stuff. But I'm looking forward to the next issue. I don't know what the next issue body part will be, but yeah, Michael Walsh and Tony Marie Griffin are doing an awesome job on this. So we'll see where it ends up. And then our last one, we actually did keep it just over a half hour. That's not too bad. Our last one we're going to review is Winnie the Pooh, Demon Hunter. We got issue 3 and issue 4. This was so fun, very well done. I love how they brought characters from all over the world and other parts of fairy tale land in here, twisted them together. We get to find out more and more about our warriors, and Eeyore is sitting there. Eeyore and Red Riding Hood, or Red, whatever you want to call her. They just focus on putting armies together and get the training in and teach our characters, and we happen to come across. Well, I can give this away. A big spoiler from issue 3. One of our new characters that pop in issue 3 is a certain black-eared character wearing a mask but driving a steamboat. Uh, I'm sure you can figure that out because that character just became public domain recently. But while they're traveling the seas, some demons attack them and stuff, and they gotta deal with it. You get to see how our new character responds and our old characters work. But yeah, Christopher Robin, Pooh, we get to go back in history, get to see their beginnings with their demon hunting and stuff, what they learned. Uh, this issue, the final issue, takes us into some uh, Alice in Wonderland type world characters and stuff. The Big Bad Wolf and some other characters make appearances in this issue, and it just, yeah, Big Bad Wolves. uh, but yeah, we get so many different characters I did not expect to see pop up in this that were all wonderfully done, and this whole storyline was very enjoyable. I hope I should say these characters come back for more. Antarctic Press, can't go wrong. I love what they do, but they did an awesome job with this storyline. If you like Winnie the Pooh, I'd say check this out. Done by Nicholas Miller, Matthew D. Rise, Logan Shell. Uh, the only thing I'm missing with this whole collection is I want a Ben Dunn cover. Other than that, I don't think you could go wrong with this if you like Winnie the Pooh. And it's not like they turned him into a shithead or anything. He's still a badass in here and can the leader of the group to an extent. And yeah, Christopher and him together, they make an awesome team up, of course. And you don't see a bunch of stuff where they're turning on each other and all that stuff. They're working together throughout it, which I really enjoy. So yeah, check it out. Check out all those other comics. That was a pretty good size stack. Uh, Lots of enjoyment throughout here, and looking forward to reading some more fun stuff soon. I got piles of it. I will get back to some more bulky group reviews. I'll still do my single issue Halloween mask wearing. Sorry, got the burps going on. Halloween mask single comic reviews throughout the month of October. and then we'll see what next month has to offer. But at the moment, I'm just trying to get as much stuff gone through, read, drawn, opened, whatever. So check those out. I'm also doing the October, BAWKTOBER, art challenge, where it's a different art item every day from Brian from the Hot Wing of Justice. And yeah, lots of different props. So far, we're just over, just getting over halfway through the month. And I got at least one out for every day. So check those out on Instagram if you want. Just fun, cartoony style artwork, mostly. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I'm hoping to get some other artwork out by Halloween too. Posted, depending on if I can get everything done I have planned. I'm just running out of time. Can't believe it's already over halfway through the month. So keep following under the Call of MS. Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. Check out Crimson Call Comic Club for our group cast and get everybody's different comics that they're reading. And we'll be back to you soon. So give us those likes so we can keep going. And we'll be back. All right. Bye.